What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits here on another live stream Wednesday, every Wednesday, high noon. And we already know what the date is. It's the last Wednesday live stream of the month, 27th of 2026. Glad to have you hop on board. Take time out of your precious day to spend some time with me as I babble away at what's happening in the world of sports. And for those who are new to this live stream, I've been doing this, what is it now? 15 months, I guess? Somewhere along those lines. Somewhere along those lines. Let's start over. Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts. I'm going to go through the comments throughout the course of this live stream. Whatever it is that's on your mind, whatever it is that you want to share. Do you want to agree with what it is that I'm saying? Disagree, debate. This is why we're all here. Your chance to get at me. So please, again, don't be shy. And for those watching the replay, you can still leave a comment. You can still say, oh, Jay Reels, you're off your rocker about the Knicks. And, I'm going to get a few things about the Knicks that it's been on my chest, in my chest, pretty much in every fiber of my being that I have to just come out and say. That's it. I know right now my brain is on overload because I've been anticipating this particular live stream more so than any other. And I look forward to them every week. But this is my chance just to maybe get the bucket where I may have not a lot, just a little cold water, but cold water that's reasonable, especially when it comes to the Eastern Conference champion Knicks. So I just had to get that off my chest. And everybody's going to say, oh, Jay Reels is hating, blah, 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 whatever. I'll get into it. And let's get to the comments before we continue. Fuqua, my guy, a.k.a. Tatsuya Mai, a.k.a. Rhoda Penmark, a.k.a. Everyday Mets, Dad, Chips, Kai Boy Bull, Minnesota Fats, Jonathan Sean Cup. Thoughts on Floyd Mayweather suing Notorious New York City? I know. I did read that. And for him to not only sue, but for $175 million, I guess he's got his own debts and maybe IRS to pay off. And not that I'm privy to Floyd Mayweather's finances, but we all know that he's Floyd Money Mayweather. Well, maybe he needs more money. And considering what we have seen here in the news recently when it comes to him. So, yeah, my thoughts. Listen, if he's hurting, obviously he's going for a big payday. And that's the thing. I don't know if he's going to get $175 million, but let's say if he even got half that, where's that half going? Now, of course, he's probably going to put it in some big, giant Louis Vuitton bag, show up courtside. I could see at the NBA Finals at Madison Square Garden, Game 3-4, of course, Celebrity Row. You're not going to see him in OKC or San Antonio. I mean, seriously. But then you have a scenario where he'll be there flossing his money, and it's like, Floyd, can you stop with the antics? You're not 22 years old where you have to show the world your wealth. I mean, seriously. But anyway, and in bio, my guy, of course, Floyd is broke as a joke, which we would think just based on his behavior. IDK, who's been on me the last 2 days. When am I going to do a live stream? When am I going to do a live? When am I going to do a live? I said today at 12 noon Eastern. Today at 12 noon Eastern. I know he's got a couple other emojis here with the hearts. I appreciate that. Is that a pancake? That actually looks pretty good. And speaking of which, this is what I'm starting my day off with. I know it doesn't really look like, oh yeah, it does look green because of the light. Green juice. This is actually honeydew melon and a little ginger. So cheers to everybody out there. And of course, you got the laugh emoji. Fishing Angel, greetings. Always a pleasure to see you stop by. I'm waiting to see the, oh, you're good? That's great. And IDK is pretty good too. Ray, what is happening? I know he's ecstatic. Now, I got a few things I got to get off my chest, which, as you know, Ray, and I give you credit because you've come on here to watch honest sports talk, true sports talk, passionate sports talk. I'm not saying anything that's out of school or anything that is over the line or from a standpoint of clickbait, rage bait. You know, I've stressed that from the very beginning. And there's going to be a few things I'm going to say. I got a lot of flowers for the Knicks, but there's also a couple things that I got to throw in there that's just real. And I want to see if you agree with that. So that's coming. A matter of fact, yes, Val, welcome. And Fuqua, of course. I'm going to talk about the Mets later on. And Fuqua, you got to hang on for that one because once I get through the NBA and a little NHL, I'll touch on the Mets. where yesterday on my short, I came out and said some things. We all know how I feel about David Stern. Listen, I'm not going to try to rehash that, but does anybody have a clue over in Flushing at Citi Field? That's what I want to tackle later on. And, I will later on my live stream. So you got the 50 subscribers. If that's the case, congratulations, Ray. Good to hear. Good to see. And, yeah, just let us know what time. Let me know what time, and I'll jump on for sure. So I'm from Vegas, rooting for the Knights. I'm going to talk about that IDK. And shout out to you. Shout out to Vegas. Phenomenal series. Is that more? Now, I got to give Vegas credit because not only did they beat the Avalanche, who had the best record in the sport, President's Trophy winners, which is the biggest curse for any hockey team they have. But is that more of a Vegas win, or is that just an awful Colorado collapse? I mean, let's face it. They were just, especially in that game 3, they're up 3-0, and terrible. So, yes, and Val, of course, on the Pacific Northwest, Pacific Grove, California, near San Francisco, or not too far from the Bay Area. I know, Giants. Yeah, well, I think the Mets are worse. I know Val always asks me, who's worse now, Mets or Giants? And this time last week, I could say, well, the Mets by record are better, but now this week, forget about it. Oh, terrible. Road game. That's on your birthday, June 29th. Yes. Congratulations to the Knicks winning. They deserved it for sure. Yes, they did. Fishing Angel, 1,000%. And I'll be able to unpack that momentarily. Bio, Cubs 10 in a row, and that's not 10 wins. That's 10 losses. Meanwhile, earlier this year, they had a 10-game winning streak. I think they're the first team, I believe, since the 2017 Dodgers that had a 10-game winning streak, and that was at the time a 9-game, and now they got a 10-10. They were 27-12. What was it? Maybe 3 weeks ago? And now I believe they're 29 because they've lost 15 of now 16 of 18. Now they're 29-27. No, 29-28. I haven't checked the standings, but that's putrid. And yeah, and listen, the Knights, I'm going to talk about them in a bit, like I mentioned, but also as far as their chances to whomever they play in the Cup final, especially if it's Carolina. Lost 2 games. I know. Ugh. Long years for us there, Val. Yes, IDK. Yes, I think you did click on that again, so my apologies there. Josh Jacobs got arrested. Yes. Not good based on what the charges are. And, yeah, just disgraceful. I mean, what can you say? We're not there. We don't know what's happening, but come on. Here we go. All right. Fuqua. My green juice is water, celery, pear, spinach. Very good. I like that. That's good, too. It's good to get those anti-inflammatories in the body, antioxidants. So, and then, yes, Val's turning 22 a month from Friday. So, we'll be on top of that. And let's see. The Novice. My man, I know I've been thinking about you recently, and I got a lot cooking on my end on so many different fronts. Good and, I don't want to say bad, but good and working through stuff. And I'm not talking about my home life either, but it's one of those things where because I got a lot going on, I haven't forgotten. And yes, where's A.J. Brown going? I know it's easy to say New England, but I'm sure there's going to be another team that's going to jump in. But I would think the Patriots, and then that's going to look bad. Obviously, what happened earlier this offseason with Mike Vrabel, the coach, and Diana Rossini, the writer, and her with the inside information. Yeah, so does Robert Kraft even touch that? I guess we'll find out in the coming days. So we got that going on. Yeah, they avalanched. IDK, you're absolutely right about that. And let's see. Giants. Hold on. Why isn't this clicking? Could have won, but they can't score more home runs than runners in scoring position. They need to improve that. Yeah, listen. You got to be able to get those runners in from third or less than 2 out. And timely hitting, as we all know, especially in the postseason. And, of course, the Giants, just like my Mets, same deal. All right, Ray, so what do you got? At 7:30, I got to 50. I had to wait 24 hours. I was thinking tomorrow afternoon. How about 2:30, 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock will work for me. But, hey, whatever is Good for you. 100%. I'm going to go watch one of my YouTubers later. See, all right, hey, IDK, I know you've been asking when I'm going to jump on board, and here I am. So, no, I appreciate you stopping by, and I'm hearing Matt Chapman, Jay Reuters. Yeah, the thing is that he's owed how much money left on his contract, and on top of this, production has just been awful. No, I want contract. There we go. He just signed 6 years, $151 million through 2030. He still has 4 more years that he's owed. And I got news for you. I don't know which team is going to want to say, all right, we'll take him. Because Chapman's stats right now, and I know Val's has been on top of this. He's the third baseman of the Giants, people, for those who aren't aware. Well, hopping on board for the first time. His numbers this year, he's batting .234 with 1 home run and 16 RBIs. This is a guy, I understand this is before the pandemic, he had 36 home runs one year. And other years, 27, he's hit 27 3 times. The guy's a legit 25 home run a season type of guy. And I don't know if he's injured. I don't know what's going on with him, but I could see, all right, maybe trade rumors, but with that production, I don't know who's going to take that, to be honest with you. But I guess that we'll have to wait and see. All right, so let's get to it, people. 12 minutes in. I got to start here. 2 nights ago, the Knicks, once again, in just dominant, obliterating fashion, sweep another series after sweeping the Sixers in the conference semis. They take care of the Cavaliers there on Monday night. And now everybody in New York City, well, maybe not everybody, considering I live here, is giddy for the New York Knicks. And there's a lot of great things to talk about here. And this run, which hasn't been seen, take this, 53 years, which happens to be the same year that the Knicks won. And no, the Knicks didn't have a similar run in 73. It was the Milwaukee Bucks when they were just disposing their opponents. And the point differential was astronomical. Well, the Knicks have surpassed that to the point where I believe they point differential is 262 points. I mean, just think about the closeout games. 51 against Atlanta, 30 against the Sixers, and 37 against the Cavs. So if you do the math, 51, 37, 88, and 30, that's 118. And then all the other games that they've beaten to a pulp throughout this 11-game winning streak, they haven't lost. Think about this. The Knicks have not lost a game since April 23rd, which was a Thursday night in Atlanta before they won Game 4 that Saturday. And I'll never forget, it was a rainy day. That was the day, Fuqua, if you remember, the Hot Sauce Expo, if you're still with us. And that was when the Knicks won. And since then, they've never looked back. And there's been a lot that's gone on here. And I'm going to get to the good and the not so good. I won't call it the bad. Or how about the good and the cautious? Because there is some avenues that you're going to have to proceed with caution when it comes to, forget about the Knick run and what has taken place, but what lies ahead. And that's what I want to give just a little balance here, because a lot of the Knick fans, and rightfully so, they should be over the moon, crazed. I've talked about this on the podcast, whatever, and I'm not going to go down that road. But what I do want to express is, despite their brilliance, the team effort, Landry Shamet cannot miss a three-pointer. All of a sudden, he's Steph Curry. You have everybody contributing. Even Jalen Brunson, when he's not having a big game, he's dishing out 14 assists. Mikal Bridges, who didn't have a big game, number 4, but it didn't matter because the game was over midway through the second quarter. And everybody is locked in, dialed in. Like I mentioned, the winning streak, the point differential. I mean, this is something that we haven't seen. Not even the Lakers of the early 2000s, not even any of the Warrior teams. Well, the Warrior teams did have in 17, they had those scenarios where they blew people out and obviously cruised to a title. But to see this on this level, where you're looking at just an absolute annihilation, and I don't think any Knicks fan saw this coming. Listen, were they a team that could have gone to a final and made it there without question? Absolutely. But not in this fashion. I mean, I don't care what kind of Knicks fan you are. If I would have told you before game one, April 18th, when the Hawks visited Madison Square Garden, and I asked you that the Knicks are not only going to go to a final, they're going to win 11 in a row, they're going to blow out everybody, have these closeout games where you can't even compute and even comprehend that they would win in this way, shape, or form. You'd be like, I'll take it, but I think you're smoking something, Jay Reels. Well, guess what? They've done that and then some. And now they are riding high. They are flying high. Not just the team, the fan base, everybody. Now, I know the younger fan base, they're going to be out of control. They're going to be crazy. They're going to, whatever. You're going to see the side talk and all the videos outside of Madison Square Garden, them yelling, them, oh, we're smoking that Cleveland pack, or oh, James Harden this, or oh, Donovan Mitchell that, or oh, yeah, Wembanyama, we want you, or yeah, SGA, whatever. I'm sure you're going to hear that New York energy, which I kind of love, but at the same time, it's silly because they could talk about they've suffered, the 25-year-old, but come on. I mean, really? What have you suffered? You wanted to go, oh, I suffered the Carmelo season, Roy Hibbert back in 2013. All right, but you lost in 6 games. Were you really thinking about going to a final that year? No. That was the height of LeBron in Miami, as you know. But anyway, so now you have a situation where all this has transpired. Out of 21 possible playoff games, they have played 2/3. Obviously, if they would have gone 7 games in each of the 3 series that they played, which totals obviously 21, but they've only played 14. And then sweeps in the last 2, to the point where they had a 9-day layoff, and then they had this 4-game series. Now they're going to have another 9-day layoff, considering that the finals, which I thought was going to start on Thursday, I've been saying all along, but it's actually going to start Wednesday, a week from tonight, in San Antonio or Oklahoma City. And it's a thing where, with everything that we've witnessed right in front of our eyes, and I still can't wrap my head around what has gone on here. I really can't, because they've been that dominant. And it almost makes me think that, wait a second, they should save some of these 3-pointers, save some of these points, save these wins for the next round. Because now, here's the next thing that I want to get into. People have gotten at me since Saturday and say, yeah, Jay Reels, you want to talk that talk, nonsense, blah, blah, blah. So what? We only play the teams that are in front of us, which is true. Oh, I don't care what you got to say. We're just blowing these teams out. And yeah, bring on OKC, San Antonio. All right. That's why, if you noticed on the podcast Monday, my thumbnail said confidence or arrogance when it comes to the fan base. Because yes, you could be excited, you could be ecstatic, you could be crazed, you could be whatever. But it does have to be tempered. Because let's face it, people, this trip to the NBA Finals, and I'll bring up the graphic back in a little bit, because I want to start with the first thing, a cakewalk to the NBA Finals. You know what the answer to that is? You're damn right. Come on, you beat a 6th seed in Atlanta, which you were actually down 2-1. I understand the 2 losses were by 1 point in each game. And then we saw what happened there. You played Philly, where somebody got at me saying that, oh, there were people picking the Sixers over the Knicks. I said, whomever picked that, whether they are a former player, somebody in the media, broadcast, or whatever, they don't know basketball. Oh, Embiid and what they did to the Celtics. Please, we all know that Embiid can't last in a playoff series. If he stands upright for 4 games, let alone 7, it's a miracle. And as it was, didn't he not play in game 2, I believe, in that series? And then the Cavs, there were people saying, oh, the Cavs, obviously they showed some mettle against Detroit, winning games 5 and 7 on the road. And, oh, James Harden, let's see what's going to happen with him as far as being on a team that's one step away from getting to a final. And Donovan Mitchell, he's never been there before, and blah, blah, blah. And we saw what happened in game 1. And then after that, they might as well not even shown up. And they were the 4 seed. And, oh, by the way, the Sixers were a 7 seed. And I know Mike Greenberg, ESPN, came out with the stat, whoa, the last 3 NBA champions, OKC, Boston, and Denver, they faced an easy road too. And I can attest for the Celtics, being a Celtic fan, that yes, they beat up a Miami Heat team that was an 8 seed and didn't have Jimmy Butler. They beat up a Cavs team in 5. It was 1-1 after 2 in both of those series. But no Donovan Mitchell, and I believe Jared Allen was out too. Fine. Tyrese Halliburton played the first 2 games. He suffered an injury in game 3, didn't play in game 4. All right, fine. And then you played a 5 seed in the Mavericks where, all right, they had Luka and Kyrie, but there were going to be no match for what the Celtics had to offer. And I get that. Listen, hand raised high in the air. They did not go through a gauntlet to get to an NBA final. And the same can be said here for the Knicks. And understood. But now, here's where I got to temper it. As high as the Knicks fan is right now, they're going up against a team. And I understand you're going to want to play San Antonio before you play OKC. And I get that. And you'd be off your rocker if you'd rather play OKC than San Antonio because of what we saw with San Antonio last night, and I'll get into that in a little while. But for those fans out there that think that this dominance that we've seen, and you can't dismiss it, you can't shove it under the rug, you cannot. But it has to be tempered because now you're going to play an actual team. You're not playing a young Hawk team. You're not playing a Sixer team that, please, they're not any good. And people say, oh, well, they beat the Celtics. Yeah, because that was the NBA Finals, as I said before. And then coming back from the 3-1 deficit and all that. And then the Cavs, I understand they beat the 1 seed in the Pistons. But to me, the Cavaliers, all right, they took a next step. But when they got game 1, when they had that game and possibly maybe the series in a stranglehold, although I thought the Knicks would have won in 5 anyway, what happened? They gagged. It's not as if they went through a gauntlet or at least had one team along the way. And then I've had people come at me and say, oh, well, OKC, look who they beat. They beat Phoenix and the Lakers. All right, Phoenix was a playing team, and the Lakers didn't have Luka, but they played him right fine. But who are they playing now? Just like San Antonio. Oh, they beat Portland, and then they beat Minnesota. Minnesota was game, and I understand that Wemby got ejected in one of those games, but they're playing OKC. They are playing a legitimate team. That's why everybody's talked about this Western Conference Final being the NBA Final. Why? Because you have the defending champs going up against, in all likelihood, a team that's going to be a future champ. If not this year, probably next year or the year after. So these 2 teams are Clash of the Titans, where the Knicks might as well played me, Bio, Fishing Angel, Val, Ray, you name it. Shout out to J-Rod. I got to shoot him out. He's probably in the comments now. But, I mean, please, the Cavs were a complete, as I like to say, they were not an invisible man. They were invisible men. Did you watch that game 4? How the Knicks were just going up and down the court, backdoor, fast breaks, open men. I mean, it was deplorable. They couldn't defend me on the perimeter. And I understand that the Cavs aren't a good or even great defensive team. I should have flip-flopped that. But, I mean, who are we fooling here? So now that leads to this. Parallels, as you see in the graphic, to the 2024 Yankees World Series run. Ray, you may want to cover your eyes for this, or cover your ears, and maybe your eyes. Who knows? Shows you how jacked up I am, how wired. And please, comments, I want to hear them all, whatever. Let's go back to that 2024 Yankee run. Yankees, who in the divisional series played the Royals. And the Yankees have killed the Royals. And they've killed every team in the AL Central throughout postseason play. I get it that the Indians, prior to them being the Guardians, got them in 97, didn't get them in 98, got them in 07. They've had a couple of instances where they beat the Yankees in the playoffs. But recent, in 2017, not the case. 2020, during the pandemic in that wild card series, Yankees beat them. They always destroy the AL Central. The Twins, I don't even need to go there. They've just eaten up the Twins when they face them in the playoffs. And the same can be said for the Royals. Tigers, not so much. 06, 2012. I get that. But you understand where I'm going. You see where the theme lies. So they beat the Royals in 4, and now they play the Guardians, who a lot of people thought, well, Guardians' second best record. All this I had to hear, even from my father-in-law. God love him. Where he came out and said, oh, the Guardians, they're a good team. They're scrappy. Scrappy doesn't beat the Yankees. Scrappy doesn't beat the Dodgers. Scrappy does not beat big market teams. And I had to tell him that. I said, yeah, they're there for a reason, but they're not in that class. They're not on that level. And what happened? Yankees beat them in 5. Even after blowing that game 3 where they gave up the 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th and then the home run in the 10th or whatever, the 12th inning, Jaconzi Noel. But then what happened after that? Yankees, Soto with the 3-run homer to tie. Stanton's heroics. He wins the ALCS MVP, and the Yankees go on to the World Series. And check those receipts. Bio knows I talked about how, the Yankees played nobody. It was a cakewalk to a World Series. But now they're going to play the Dodgers. They're going into the deep end of the pool now because the trash of the AL Central is gone. Now they're going to face a legitimate team, a real team, a World Series contending team. And what happened? I rest my case. That's why when I go back to the banner here, parallels, let's face it, how many teams in NBA history have had a streak like this? And I'm sure you could go back, even the Lakers when they killed those teams, even the Nets that one year, I believe the one year when they went 16-1. And I get it. The Nets, Jason Kidd, Kenyon Martin, Richard Jefferson, good team. They're not Shaq, Kobe. I get it. But still, when you get to that point where now you play a team that is legitimate and a team that has toughness, especially if it's OKC. And that's not to say that the Spurs don't have that. But this is where the fan, and not you, Ray, or any of the Knicks fans that I know, but there are a lot of Knicks fans that right away think that, it's a foregone conclusion. Yeah, bring on SGA, bro. Listen, it's okay. It's okay to be confident. It's okay to be confident. But to be arrogant, and this is why these fans need to relax. Because I got news for you. If the Knicks, after this long layoff, and I don't want to hear about the Knicks fans saying, I hope it goes 7 and it goes 9 overtimes to where either OKC or San Antonio wins, they're going to beat each other up and we're going to be well rested. Well, remember, Game 7 is Saturday. They have all day Sunday, all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and all day Wednesday. And by the way, they don't have to travel. They're hosting that Game 1. So if it's a situation where the Knicks had that sluggish start, and they actually got also a good start. They were up by 11 in the first half against the Knicks before the Cavs took over, and then obviously had that 22-point lead with 7:40 to go in Game 1. If OKC or San Antonio has a 22-point lead in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, guess what? Knicks ain't coming back from that. They are not. There's no way. So for those out there that think that this is going to be not a cakewalk, and I'm sure the Knicks fan, even that young Knicks fan, that's what I'm really trying to get at here. I know that they're probably thinking, yeah, we could beat them, and we're going to beat them. And I get it. You got to feel that way. Maybe it's just a jaded Met fan in me that thinks that, my team, we can't have anything nice. And let's face it, the Knicks are in a 53-year drought. And how I look at it, with the way they've dominated, if not this year, when? What, they're going to be a 1 seed next year? And they're not going to blow these teams out the way they have this year. Unless they're going to play the dregs, the bottom feeders. I mean, it's just one of those things that infuriates me. And I get it, fan, fanatic, whatever. But it infuriates me because it's a situation where instead of looking at it for, yeah, what you've accomplished, what you've done, that, all the flowers to you. Fans, the team, Leon Rose, how he's put this team together. Can't say anything. But when the fan base starts to get a little out of control, and I understand when they're in front of the cameras, they're going to act silly and foolish and say things, whatever, just so they could get on social media and it's a viral moment, etc. But I just don't like it that there isn't just a drop. Not saying you have to be objective throughout, but there's not even a drop of honesty and of objectivity to the point where it's like, yeah, I know if we play either team, it's going to be tough. Because going into that series, Knick fans, you're going to be a slight underdog to the Spurs, and you're going to be a solid underdog to the Thunder. That's it. Knicks aren't going to be favored to win that series. And one more time, you've been in the kiddie pool the first 3 rounds. Now you're getting thrown into the ocean without a life raft. And we're going to see. And I can't wait. And I'm actually contemplating whether or not I'm going to live stream those games while I watch, so you can get my instant reaction and all that. Contemplating. So just keep that in the back of your mental Rolodex as we move it along here. And that's the thing, too. Let's wrap up with the Knicks and this, and I'll get your comments. These 3 things, you have to really concern yourself if you're a Knick fan. And I don't care if you're the most optimistic Knick fan, and if you're pessimistic or you're that one that's waiting for the other shoe to drop, I get that too. But you got to wonder, another long layoff, and this time you're not going up against Cleveland. You're going up against, I don't have to tell you. And you also have to think, has this Knick team already peaked? How are they going to get better from what they've done here over the last 3.5 weeks? They can't. And especially against a team like OKC or San Antonio, who, by the way, are the top 2 seeds in the West. So it's not as if they're going to face a 4 seed or a 5 seed or worse. It's 1 or 2. Next Wednesday, 8:30, ABC, tip-off down in San Antonio, OKC. And the last thing is a stiffer competition. That's it. Cheers to that. Your thoughts? Let's see. Fishing Angel 24. Yes, if for those who are here, please, Fishing Angel, go subscribe to her channel. She's got some good stuff that she puts there. Absolutely, she could do that. Val, German score 50. Ugh. If I was on Duolingo, I'd probably get a score of negative 50, which is bad. Who do you think the next round to play? I would say, 1,000%. Absolutely. And that's the thing. If the Spurs somehow, some way win this series, which means they have to win it in 7, that is going to be a big leap. But you'd also have to think that maybe they'll hit their ceiling. Because even though they have the home court, but what this series is going to take out of them emotionally, psychologically, whatever, what do they have left in the tank to play a Knick team that is going to be firing? Because let's face it, like I said, OKC can win a game 7, in 9 overtimes. And they could be physically exhausted, mentally, emotionally, but come Wednesday, they're going to be ready. Because they're going to know that the Knicks are hot. They're going to know what it's going to take to win. We saw them win last year against Indiana. We've seen them in certain series win the game that they absolutely have to. And they've already done it in this series. They lost game 1. They needed game 2. Won game 2. And then they didn't let the Spurs take over game 3 to the point where they would be down 2-1 to have some pressure on them. So, all right, they lost game 4 and they lost game 4 badly. Last night, they figured no fooling around. And I guess I'll segue to that in a moment. But, by far, the novice. It's definitely the Spurs. What was your question for me? I was on the phone with my what was my question? I don't think I had a question. I was just I was just saying, Ray, to cover your ears, because what I just mentioned as far as my parallel between the 2026 Knicks and the 2024 Yankees. So, well, they're playing. Oh no! Listen, Fuqua, 1,000%. I can't disagree with you. I can't even argue that. I'd be stupid if I were to say, "Oh no, well, it's been smoke and mirrors." No, and I get it. You beat the teams that are in front of you. So whether that was you, Fuqua, me, the novice, J-Rod, and Ray going up against the Knicks, and they beat us 200-6, so be it. Doesn't matter. But now it's a whole different ballgame. Robert, welcome. I'll tell you right now, the Knicks don't want to see my Thunder. Oh, are you from OKC? Welcome. 2025. Oh, Matt Chapman? Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yes, Val. J-Rod. That just pissed you off? Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, that's always a day at the beach. Val, I love it when he does the tally. I definitely don't think that. Oh, you don't? Because you're a reasonable fan. I cried on Monday, not going to lie to you, bro. Oh, no, listen. I totally get it. Listen, you're amongst diehard, kook, crazy sports fans. So do not feel like, oh, hey, I cried, I had to. Great. The emotions. I love it. Val, Mark Salmons. I'm sure it'll pop up at some point. Ray, I cried when Michigan won that. Oh, yeah. Look at that. And that's right. And remember, the Wolverines won in college basketball too. Yes. That is going to be, oh my goodness. Now, that would be before game 6. Because the World Cup starts the 11th, and they're having a game in MetLife on the 13th. 3 days later, they're having another game. I think it's France and Senegal. And that will coincide with game 6. Now, people are going to say, wait a minute. Jay Reels, the World Cup is played in Jersey, and the NBA Finals, Madison Square Garden. It's in Manhattan. Well, the thing is that, remember the situation I talked about weeks ago with the trains, especially coming from Jersey into New York? So imagine for those who can't catch a train to go out to the Meadowlands, or they're gonna spend $100 or whatever, how much it is now. And they talked about shutting down train service. Well, what does that mean for those who live in Jersey who are going to go to the Knick game? Or that are going to leave to head out? I mean, we'll talk about that as we get closer, but yeah, that is a mess. Yeah, I don't know if New York City's ready for that. And that's the thing. A lot of people that are going to come to witness that World Cup match, they're not staying in Jersey. I mean, if you go to the Meadowlands, it's swamp. There is a hotel that's across the highway there, but there's the surrounding towns. What is it? Moonachie, East Rutherford, Clifton's not too far. I mean, there's really nothing around there. So, yeah, thank God I don't live out there. I know my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they live in Secaucus, which is literally on the other side of there's that bridge for if you take Route 3. Ugh. That, I do not envy them for that. So, and you know what, Fishing Angel? This is a terrible job on my part because I did not even mention this, and this is a terrible story. A part of it is because I don't follow racing, NASCAR, and I even talked about the Indy 500 for about 30 seconds on Monday. But, yeah. Terrible story. And I know he had this illness, I guess, hours before, unfortunately, he passed, which was last Thursday. And again, just a terrible job on my part. Thoughts, prayers, condolences go out to his family, their whole racing community. I don't even know what else to add. Awful. It would be you, because I'm getting thrown out 5 minutes in the game for punching cat right now. Oh, yeah. To be the enforcer on the team and just throw your elbows and fists around. One thing I'll say, the point differential is crazy to understand. No, it absolutely is. I mean, we haven't seen anything like it. I mean, it's nuts. You would think the Knicks came into this postseason as the heavy favorite in the East. And that's another thing, too, I might add. Remember last offseason, and I'm sure I got a receipt somewhere last year, where people thought Detroit was going to take a next step, and they did, as far as the regular season. And a lot of people thought because people were thinking that Giannis was going to get traded last offseason. So that was a big mystery. The Celtics weren't going to have Tatum, so they were compromised. Cleveland, all right, they did take a next step by getting to a conference final, but nobody looked at them as a threat in the East. Philly, it all depended on the health of Embiid, and we saw what happened there. Miami, we thought, all right, maybe they'll sneak in typical Heat culture. Please. One and done when it came to the play-in. Nobody believed in Orlando. Nobody believed in Charlotte and had that big second half to even get into the play-in, and they did win the one game before losing to Orlando. Toronto, is anybody going to – come on. So I hate to say it. When people say, oh, the East wasn't weak, they just played – the East was weak. It's okay to admit that. And that's another thing the Knicks fan doesn't want to understand. Just like I got to the Yankee fans to say that you guys got to a World Series, you played nobody. And people try to argue and fight me off on that. I was like, come on. Call like you see it. I think about this. And I don't want to compare Mets Yankees, but I'm just doing it for the sake of this discussion. And I'm not talking about the teams. I mean, the Mets are just going back to 2024. Yeah, and I understand that Mets had to play an extra round. Yankees played the Royals, Guardians to get to a World Series. The Mets, wild card round. I get it. Brewers, and they were on the brink of getting eliminated if it wasn't for Pete Alonso. Then they played the Phillies, division rival, ahead of them, and they beat them. And then they had to play the Dodgers, who took them to 6 games. Now they were down 3-1, but took them to 6 games in an LCS. And let's just say, for argument's sake, if the Mets did beat the Dodgers that year, and it was a Met-Yankee World Series, you mean to tell me that the Met path to a World Series wasn't as hard as the Yankee path? Come on. Who are you talking to here? I wish no one stopped Cat from eating a poison berry. Oh, that commercial. And he's played well this postseason, too. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't count 99 because we're not healthy. Yeah, no Patrick Ewing. Yep. And 94, yep. No, listen, 94 that was close. 213 point differential. Yeah. Thank you, Val. Yeah, 94. At game 5. Game 3 and game 5, because Sam Cassell made a bunch of threes in that game. I'll never forget that was on a Sunday. And then the Knicks won game 4 and 5, and they lost game 6. Starks had a big game. Had this shot blocked at the end, the three-pointer. I could have won them a championship, but Josh Jacobs, I was on the Raiders. Oh, listen, obviously we don't know how people tick their Val. We weren't there. I'm not going to be sitting here from thousands of miles away to judge or even critique that. I mean, I can critique it saying that if this is true, I know it's alleged, the lawyers come out to say, oh, all this is false, blah, blah, blah. But we've seen this many times before, sadly, throughout all the sports. Baseball, football, I'm sure you got a basketball in there somewhere. And in particular, football, we've seen it with Greg Hardy. We've seen it with Chad Johnson to a certain extent. We've seen it now here with Jacobs. We've seen it with Tyreek Hill. The list goes on and on. You can attribute it to the sport that they played, the CTE. I mean, who knows? Pistons are in talk of trading up. Oh, is that right? Yeah, I did see some mock drafts that they probably would draft him. So, your thoughts on Kenny Atkinson to remain? Yeah, I know. And after the things he said earlier this week with the whole, analytically, we should be up at least 2-1. Come on. Kenny Atkinson. Yeah, listen, Dan Gilbert is the owner, and Kobe Altman was a very good GM. And listen, based on what he said about that comment, that should have been fireable. I mean, who are we kidding? But I get it. You want to have some continuity. Now, next year, if they go belly up in the first round or something like that, then he's not going to survive. He would have to get back to that point next year, conference finals, and take his chance from there. But you could debate it, especially after that game one and those comments. You could debate him being terminated. But listen, if you're going to have turnover with your coaches every 2 years, I mean, how do you expect your players to develop, flourish in a particular system as opposed to, what was it, 2 years ago? I'm trying to think, who was the head coach 2 years ago? Cavs. I'm not thinking Cavs coaches are off the top of my head. Yeah, Atkinson last year, 64 games. 2 years ago, that was Cleveland when they played Boston. Yeah, who was the Was it? What am I thinking? JB Bickerstaff. Let's see. I know. You think I know this off the top of my head. For whatever reason, I'm drawing a giant blank. Yeah, it wasn't. I figured JB Bickerstaff. That's what I thought. I just had to confirm that. So, game 4 in the finals. Yeah, from game 4 on. Yes. So you're right about that because it starts next Wednesday. It's Wednesday, Friday. Then games 3 and 4 in New York are Monday, Wednesday. And then after that, it's Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, which is weird because, generally they've gone Thursday, which would have been June 4th this year, Thursday, Sunday, then Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Thursday, Sunday. Because Sunday night was usually game 7, but now they're going to have it on a Friday, which, yeah, a little different. I don't know why the NBA did that, but, hey, so be it. Dire fans are almost realistic. It's all I ever want from the fans. So that, I feel you, Ray. Jackie Slater, oh, yes. Oh, his birthday today? Happy birthday to him. Lifetime ban if it's made to be true. Well, you got to see what these allegations are, if it's true. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pulling this up now. Jacobs. Yeah, it was charged as a battery, domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, strangulation, suffocation. Listen. Let's see what's going to happen here. Obviously, it doesn't sound good. We just don't know if it doesn't look good. I mean, of course, the optic is terrible, but right. We're going to have to wait and see how this will transpire. What has me a little nervous, like you mentioned earlier, was the layoff. Yeah, because if they have that another 9-day layoff, and then they're going to go play game 1 on the road, and yeah, let's say that team is putting it on the Knicks. Are they going to come back? A whole different ball game. Another 8 teams, OTAs today. Yeah, and then and that's funny because then the OTAs today, and then after that, oh my God, it's a thing. Training camp is 2 months from now. Oh, I felt the NFL season just finished. And again, I'll say it now. I'll say it a million times between now and the end of July. I can absolutely, positively, 1,000% wait for the NFL season to arrive. Case closed. Matt LaFleur. Yeah, of course. They got to investigate and make sure that whatever it is that they fine during this investigation. Obviously, if he gets charged and sentenced, he's done. And he's not even done in the Packers. He's done as far as an NFL player goes. Thunder not picking that high in the draft. They can't pay a lottery pick. I could see that. You're talking about the trade with the Pistons to get Yaxel. Yeah. No, I can see that, Jay. 100%. What James said, really after game 4. You're talking about James Harden? What do you mean by that, Ray? What's the NBA Finals on first half on Prime Video, second half on Peacock? Yeah, God forbid, that'll actually come. Ugh. In fact, next year's conference final, I believe, will be the East, and then ESPN will get the West. Next year's conference final is on Amazon Prime. Just curious, why do you think they did that schedule change? Could it be because of the World Cup? Well, I would think they wouldn't have done that because of the World Cup. To have that game on June 16th, that Tuesday, to coincide with, and I'm sure they didn't even think of it that way because they're thinking that, well, the game's in Jersey where game 6 is in Manhattan. Why would that affect the NBA? Yeah, I don't know why they changed their format because it's always been Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, and so on. And this time it's Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday. Yeah, I don't know why. I have to look into that to see. Yeah, if that comes to be true in court, oh, yeah. 100%. Need to get Yax on Michigan, not trade him to the Pistons. Well, yeah, has he? I think he's, didn't he, and not that it matters because even if he declared for the draft, he could always come back. But, yeah, no, that's the thing. I would think if he's going to want to go pro, why not do so now, Fishing Angel? 3 months in college football career. I know, geez, it'll be here before you know it. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, good for him. Packers got me in a form right now trying to get another running back. Yeah, I would think so, the novice. Absolutely. Bio. Okay, so then I could pick a day at number 12. Yeah, I think Hartenstein, he only signed a 2-year deal, maybe 3 years. So he probably has 1 more year. I thought he signed a 2-year deal, which I believe he'd be a free agent. Oh, you were talking about James Harden? No, just like I thought. All right, cool. I can't wait for Michigan football. Yeah, that'll be here before you know it. Ugh. Micah Parsons will be back. When will he be back? Well, he's an outside linebacker, Val. But no, I know what you mean. Oh, hang on. Yes, he did. No more eligibility for the so yeah, he can't go back to college basketball. Oh, she knows this? I just got confused. That's right, Fishing Angel. We accept your apology. All right, so now let me turn to this. OKC 1 win away from the finals appearance. Will Spurs force game 7? Cheers again. I'll be honest. I know for theater's sake, you want to see a game 7. And it's a coin flip. Although I think OKC would win a game 7, I want the series over tomorrow night. Not because I picked OKC to win in 6, but if I'm the Thunder, I would think, guys, Wemby, who had a bad game last night for him, and the Spurs, I don't know, they weren't even ready for OKC, it seemed, especially during that stretch in the second and third quarter. That's when I believe didn't SGA score 23 of his 32 points during that time frame. And Jared McCain made a big-time contribution. Alex Caruso, who threw up a donut in Game 4, and to take the line from my good friend John Guerrero, longtime Met fan. I've known him 26 years now. Where that would be for me to say, I scored the same amount of points as Alex Caruso did in game 4 of the conference finals, and I don't even play. 0. But he bounced back there last night. And, yeah, the Spurs had no answers. And it makes you think that either A, they're going to be up for a big game there tomorrow night, which I think they will, and Wemby will rebound. But the resolve, the resiliency, the DNA that this team has, the Thunder that is, this is why I would like to see them say, all right, we know the Knicks have punched their ticket. Now we want to punch ours. And the only way we're going to do so is to play similar to what we did last night, which was SGA with 32-9. Caruso, I forgot how many three-pointers he made. What did he make? 4, I guess, from behind the arc. Jared McCain with a big-time contribution. Isaiah Hartenstein, what do you have, 12 and 16 or 12 and 15, I believe. And Chet Holmgren actually played well. That's what they need. The Thunder are not a team that is reliant on the one guy. Yeah, can that one guy go off? Yes, but because Jalen Williams is hurt, and yes, I understand that they are very deep and have complementary parts on that team, but that doesn't automatically mean that if SGA has a so-so night and if they play a B- game, that they're going to beat a team like the Spurs. No. And to me, last night, SGA, he shot terribly. He was 7 for 19. And I get it that a lot of those points are free throws. But when you're getting contributions from the other guys, that team's hard to beat. And let's see what they do tomorrow night. I don't feel 100% confident that they're going to win tomorrow night, but I would not be shocked if they do. And something tells me I think they're going to win because they know that the Spurs are going to come out with a big, giant right, and they're going to see how flush they get to the Thunder. And if it's flush enough and they go down, well, we'll see you Saturday night in Game 7. But if the game is close, especially late with the lack of experience and know-how and things of that nature with the Spurs, that's where I can see the Thunder prevail and be able to get back to an NBA final for the second straight year. So, yeah, that's what I got with the OKC series. Now, before I get to 1, 2, 4 more things, let's check these comments. All right, Aaron Rodgers. All right. Well, good for Aaron Rodgers. I know the Summer Olympics with this flag football nonsense. Oh, you guys know how I feel about that, so there's no need to even expound on that. Oh, you're welcome. Fishing Angel, always. Adam Schefter. It's a slow news day. He's got to put something up. Wish him, Merritt, and Johnson. Yeah, imagine if they all came back. Oof, they'd definitely be the favorites. I think they're one of the favorites anyway. But if none of those guys get drafted, forget it. Passion fruit guava flavor. Nice. Yeah, I'm about to get more. This is at the very end of the cold press juice. Forget it. I could drink 20 gallons of this. Let's see if I can hold off for the next hour, which will be tough. Maybe I should add some water there too, but anyway. Oklahoma City, I want to get over with. Good for you, Ray. I quit carrying that. Yeah. Yeah, and J-Rod's right. Let the flop fest begin. Yeah, but Knick fans, at least the younger ones, they're not gonna want to admit that. And I brought up an example a couple nights ago or a couple days ago on the podcast. So, all right, here we go. Game 7. This is Ray. Yeah, Game 7 would definitely be. Listen, the Spurs, are they capable? They are, but we're going to really see it if they do get to a 7th game. I'd have to say they will not. The same can be said for my New York Knicks if you're being honest with yourself through this 11-game stretch. And you know I'm right, my brother. You cannot tell me that I'm wrong. The same could be said. What, as far as toss up for Game 7? So if it's Knicks at Thunder or Knicks at Spurs in the next round, the same can be said about your Knicks. I mean, listen, any other team that's playing, and that's why they play the games. But like I said earlier, the Thunder will be a solid favorite to win a Game 7, and the Spurs would be a slight favorite. Yeah, no, and that's why he did not have a good game last night. Ray, you're wrong, so someone can tell you you're wrong. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, wait a second. Did I miss something? Thunder in 4 or Spurs? Yeah, I'll make my prediction when the time comes, which will be next Wednesday, because I'll have a live stream the afternoon prior to the start of Game 1. Well, I don't know if it's an all NFL players, Val, but there's some right now that have it and they don't even know it, which is nuts when you think about it, but that is the cold, hard truth. All right. Last night, the Knicks were the only sweep throughout the sports landscape as I put on my skates. To me, this was by far the shock of the postseason. I did not see this coming. I don't think anybody saw this coming. Could the Golden Knights beat the Avalanche? Yeah. 6 games, maybe a 7th in Colorado. All right, I'll give you that. Anything less than that, I would have been truly surprised. And here, 4 games. Last night, they get the clincher, and they held the Avalanche to 1 shot over a 25-minute period from the second into the third. And you had Mark Stone, who came back from injury. He was out since game, I think it was 3 in the Anaheim series. Comes back, scored a goal there in game number 3 that actually tied the game. And then they took the lead there, Ivan Barbashev, and then they got the empty netter. As a matter of fact, no, I'm thinking of game 2. That was Jack Eichel. Scratch that. They were down 3-0 in game 3, and Mark Stone started the barrage where they scored 5 unanswered to win, but they scored 3 in the second after Colorado got 3 in the first. And then Thomas Hertl got the game-winning goal there with about 8.5 minutes into the third, and they tacked on an empty netter. And then last night, they were up 1-0 thanks to Stone. They got another goal by Cole Smith off of a deflection with about less than 6 minutes to go. And then even though the Avalanche did score a goal on Cole Smith's redirect, but the Golden Knights hung on and have now taken the next step to go to a Stanley Cup final. 3rd Cup final in 9 years of their existence. I mean, think about that. They've been in the NHL for less than a decade, and they're about to play in their 3rd Stanley Cup final, and they've split the first 2. And in the first year of their existence, they actually made the Stanley Cup final. And my Islander team hasn't been to a Stanley Cup final since I was a freshman in high school. Oh, wait, I take that back. No, a freshman. I mean, I think about it, I get frustrated. But anyway, back to this series. Now, before I get to Colorado, give it up to Vegas. Tremendous job. They took care of Utah in the opening round. Anaheim was tied at 2. I believe even the Mammoth series was tied at 2 before they won the last 2. And in this one, what could you say? Vegas had the extra step, had the better goalie in Carter Hart. And that's the other problem with, I guess I'll segue to Colorado now. I sat here, I believe it was last Monday, and I'm sitting here, and I was literally for a good maybe 10 seconds, I sat here like this. Because as I made my prediction to see who was going to win that series, and I thought Colorado was going to win, I was just thinking how many games. And I was thinking, should I stay 6? Should I go 7? Wait a minute. Does Vegas actually have a shot to win this series? And that's when I paused because I felt like I was underestimating them. Now, again, nobody thought they were going to sweep Colorado, as we saw. But I actually, for that split second, had to think long and hard about whether or not maybe do I want to change my pick? Maybe I want to say 7 games. Who knows? But for Colorado, man, this was just, again, you were blindsided. You didn't see this coming. They steamrolled through the first 2 rounds. They swept, bio cover your ears, LA. Then they beat the Wild in 5 and came back in game 5 when they were down 3-0. And here they are. They get to a conference final, best team in the sport, President's Trophy winner, etc. And now this is another year that the President's Trophy winner not only did not win a Stanley Cup, they didn't even make the final. The last team to do that was the 2013 Blackhawks. So now here it is. They had, 122 points, whatever it was in the regular season, big-time numbers. I know no Cale Makar the first 2 games, and Nathan McKinnon was compromised there a little bit yesterday because he got hit in the left leg in the middle of game 3. But no matter how you slice it, and I even said going in, I do not love their goaltending. The Scott Wedgwood, Mackenzie Blackwood combo was, to me, in my eyes, I mean, they're good, but they're not championship ready. And you saw that in the series. And now, was it the difference? Partially because when you think about game number 2, obviously look at game number 3. You're up 3-0. I understand it's in the start of the second, but they fell like a house of cards. And then last night was the topper. So now the Knights move on, and kudos to them for doing that. And I'm sure somewhere Gary Bettman was spitting out his Corona or whatever his beverage of choice is, knowing that the best team in the sport is out. Bye-bye. Sayonara. And then the last thing is, if I'll segue to this, now the Hurricanes could take a commanding 3-1 lead tonight, game 4 in Montreal. They won the last 2 games in overtime after getting blown out in game 1. And now the Hurricanes, I think, will take over the series. Now, that's not to discount Montreal, but you also got to understand that despite that game being at home tonight, and you would think, oh, they're going to get the equalizer. And there's a part of me that thinks that they're going to tie this series because they've shown a lot of resiliency in this postseason, as I've talked about podcast Monday and prior to that. But now they face pressure because they have to win this game. This isn't a situation where in the first round when they played against Tampa, and I understand elimination game 7 on the road to win in Tampa, and they ended up doing so. All right, fine. But they were up 3-2 in the process, just like they were up 3-2 against Buffalo. And they were up 2-0 before Buffalo tied, and they got the overtime winner and won the series. But now they're trailing. And we're going to get to really see what this team is made of tonight, whether or not they're a team that has been on this incredible run, but now the glass slipper is starting to feel a little tight, and the clock for Cinderella is about 11:57. So tonight, obviously an enormous game for the Canadiens. They lose tonight, the series is over. And it just goes to show how Carolina, after game 1, and we could talk about the rust and the 12-day layoff, and even though they scored a goal 33 seconds in to start the series, the Canadiens did answer 27 seconds later and then proceeded to go with a 4-1 lead, and then they won 6-2. Where since then, yes, they've had the scratch, claw, bite, etc., but they now have a 2-1 series lead. So to me, all the pressure's on the Canadiens to win this game tonight, and I hope they do. I want to see a long series, and I'm sure Gary Bettman's thinking, oh, the last matchup I want to see is Colorado-Vegas. You could deal with Vegas because they've been good since their inception, and not to say the casual sports fan is aware of the Vegas Golden Knights, but at least they can say, oh, yeah, that team, they won a couple of years ago. Oh, yeah, they're back in the Stanley Cup final. And Carolina, nobody's going to be thinking about their 2006 Stanley Cup run. I can tell you that. So we shall see. Looking forward to how it's going to unfold. I'll talk about this game tomorrow, as well as obviously no NBA game tonight, but you'll have to tune into the podcast tomorrow to listen to the latest on that. But now, we got a sighting. Here we go. I disagree with Jay Wright's comment a little bit. Which comment was that? I'm curious, Ray. Is Mayweather washed, or can he win another belt? Yeah, he's going to win another belt against a washed opponent. So what does that make him? I'm thinking he'll beat Manny. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. But if he does fight Pacquiao, is that for a belt or is that just an exhibition? Series 3, Garrett Cole. Wow, all those pitchers are pitching today, huh? So, yeah, and Ohtani got hit in the hand, hit by pitch, and he's scheduled to pitch tonight. So, yeah, definitely keep an eye on that. Good for the Golden Knights. I would definitely watch that. Yeah, and that's a big-time atmosphere, too. We're going to respect. I agree with the last comment, but I respect the comment. Yeah, just talking about when did you post this? 1:06. So that was 6 minutes ago. Yeah, I forgot what you were referring to because, again, brain is scrambled all over the place. Right now, Freud could be anyone in this class, in my opinion. Probably right about that. When you said my New York Knicks would have no shot. Oh, okay. Well, I can't say they have no shot to win. I mean, obviously they're playing and they do have a shot, but I'm not going to go as far as saying it's a tall order. But yeah, it's, again, the old saying, the old line from Wizard of Oz. Toto, we are not in Atlanta anymore. We are not in Philadelphia anymore. And we are certainly not in Cleveland anymore. So, all right, Mark. Don't need to say that. I know Brent hasn't been coming to me. See. Yes, I got to reach out to Brent, see what's happening with him. Rain or friends. That's a good one, Jay. You know what? I could see that. And the thing is, Jay, because they've won 11 in a row and they've been on fire. I mean, this streak is, they're not going to win 15 in a row. And even if they lose game one and tie the series to go back to MSG, OKC more so, and San Antonio, they can win a game at the Garden. Now, I trust them more, the Thunder, but yeah, that's how I think about that. I'm thinking Mayweather's about to make his money back. Destroy Adrian Broner. Yeah, and I'm not a fan of his either, so. Yeah, all right. My God, I respect your opinion. Well, thank you, Ray. I respect yours too. You already know. Intended at 2 and 10. Nah, the spell check always. All right, Ray, I feel the same way. You do about the Knicks by Kryptonite Michigan football. Yep, that is J Rod's dish deck. Manny said, real fight only. Yeah, real fight means real payday. Not that it would be anything less. Tyson didn't. All right. And my New York Knicks did not. No, I think they have a shot. No, I absolutely do. I think less of a shot against OKC. But no, they have a legitimate shot to win, though. Yeah, I know. I saw that. And wait a minute. Who's he fighting? Manziel. Yeah, they got that league. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Was it yeah, the name escapes you right now. Yeah, it's a part of sports. Everyone has an opinion. That's what makes sports so great. Yeah, I agree. And they know that I believe they're going to be ready. No, I get that. I'm trying to think. You know what's funny there about that fishing angel? And again, here they are right in front of me. Make my life easier. It's one thing to express your feelings and opinions, and you can be passionate about it. Clear, concise, everything. But it's just when it gets overboard to the point where it becomes insulting or, heaven forbid, personal. It's like, come on, guys, really? We're just talking basketball. And that's the thing. When you're negative, when you're rude, when you're trying to throw your weight around to prove your point, it's like, come on. That is unnecessary. And I believe ready to play. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Wait, I went backwards there. That's the cards. All right, Mark. And just like he says, sports world, everyone's opinion makes sports go good. Couldn't have said that better. All right. Now, I'm only going to spend a few minutes on this, people, I promise. Let me get this off. Two things. One baseball, and the other one's tennis. Let me just see what's happening in sports before I do this, because, again, I want to just say this, get off my chest, and that is it. Here we go. Ready? Wait, I want to make sure I got that right. Here we go. Fuku, you still with me? No need to reiterate my disdain for David Stearns. No need to reiterate that this isn't all on Carlos Mendoza's plate, but there's got to come a point in time where the plug has to get pulled. You can't fire all the players. You can't fire the hitting coach. That is weak sauce. Pitching, I know Nolan McClain now has regressed in his last two starts. We could talk about the silly celebration, which has been destroyed. I didn't talk about that yesterday when I did my little Met rant on the channel. But yeah, it's 7-0. They hit a home run and they put the hard hat and the reflective vest on. I mean, just like the graphic says, when will heads roll? In fact, after tonight, and they're already 11 games under, they're 22-33, which was their low point 2 years ago before the OMG Grimace Mets then took off, and we know what happened. I don't see any of that happening this time around. The team has been hurt. I understand that, but it goes deeper than that. And forget about Stearns. For Steve Cohen, and I understand he wants to be hands-off. He's not going to be that guy, the Jerry Jones, or even to a lesser degree, George Steinbrenner. But you know what? Something has to get done. You've invested $382 million on this payroll. And this is the result. And I know that you have to be aggravated, frustrated. You've tweeted about that or something similar to that weeks ago. And that was bad too, saying that, oh, Benj put the bat on the ball. Oh, this was a nice double by Semien. Or oh. When the owner's saying stuff like that, you already know what type of team you have. But when is this going to happen? They're going to go into June playing like this, and then they play their closeout game against the Reds, try to salvage that series. As I said yesterday, a week ago yesterday, I was feeling pretty good about the team. They had won 11 of 16, 6 of their last 7. They beat the Yankees 2 out of 3, the dramatic fashion in the final game. And then they still had the 3 games against the Nats and 3 against the Marlins. And we saw what happened there. And we saw what they did over the weekend. And over the weekend was just downright embarrassing to only put up 2 runs and 11 hits for the entire series, on top of losing 7-0 Monday night and doing that stupid celebration, which, listen, I get it. In the past, they did the car wash. They did the OMG pose for the camera, all that, which was fun. But guess what? They were doing that when they were winning, not when they're getting embarrassed and the fans in the ballpark are chanting, "Let's go Knicks," and booing you out of the stadium. And you mean to tell me, whether he was present or not, or his wife Alex, etc., you mean to tell me that they are tone deaf to this? That they're going to retire probably like the least known player on the team from many moons ago because they want to have a celebration there in August, September, so they have people come to the ballpark. It is going to be like my cousin JD, my former radio partner, once said, and it is fitting. As it is right now, it is City of the Walking Dead. And we're still 4 days away from June. There's no turnaround in sight. And I don't want to hear about, oh, well, 2 years ago. No, I don't. Because if you've watched this team, like I have, and even though they had that stretch where a week ago yesterday, I was thinking, wow, look at this. And I'm sure you guys heard me on the podcast. I said, is it too much to ask to go 5-2 against the Marlins in Nationals? I'll take 4-3. And they split the first 4 games before going to Miami, and then we saw what happened there. They went right into a dumpster, and they lit it up, and it exploded. And since then, they've been embarrassed by the Reds. 7-2 in back-to-back nights. And in both of these games where, I mean, it's almost a team, when they're down 1-0, it's like it's over. And they were down 6-0 before they got the 2 runs. 7-0 the day before. What's happened tonight? They're going to be down 5-0, third inning. The team is a flat-out disgrace. There's no other way to cut it. And Steve Cohen, for all that you've invested in this team, you might as well start cutting bait now. And I know we had injuries, and we haven't been whole, and this, that, and the third. Yeah, that may be true. But you still weren't that good. I could see if your team, and this team started off 7-4, which is not a lot. It's a week and a half worth of games. I don't know what else to say. Again, when will the heads roll? When is Mendoza going? More importantly, when is Stearns out? Has Steve Cohen on the low contacted Theo Epstein? Might as well have Carlos Beltran as the manager at this point, considering they're going to retire his number. Why don't they retire his number and then make him the manager? Because at this rate, Mendoza's not going to last. Maybe not even after tonight. Because you got the Marlins coming in. And one of the Marlins, they've destroyed the Mets. And the Mets can come out, oh, we owe them one. Oh, nonsense. Those players aren't thinking that way. Anyway, there's nothing else more. I'm going to get more aggravated, frustrated, disgusted. Let me get your comments. Crystal, what is happening? Good to see you jump on board here. All right, here we go. I agree with you, Jay. That's how I feel about this hate from the UK fans. Oh, yeah. They're still getting at you? Jeez. Got nothing else better to do. I didn't mean anything bad about it. No, of course not. Fishing Angel, absolutely not. No, you're just making a statement and legit, valid, etc. That's what is terrible. What is worse? They celebrate home. Yeah. Need I say more? Hal Morris would probably been unsure, but yeah. I was waiting for a Hal Morris comment. City Field Dance trying to have the crowd down 7 runs. Oh, well, you see, that's the thing, Fuqua. Baseball, it's not about going to the stadium to watch a game. Unfortunately, it's to be entertained with sensory overload, which means the dancers, which means Mr. and Mrs. Met, which means the guys coming out with the T-shirts, which means, oh, let's look at the scoreboard and do a trivia question, which means, oh, now let's do the kiss cam. I don't know if they do that. I don't think they do that. But, oh, let's find the foolish guy dancing in the stands. Oh, now the 7th inning stretch, which is fine. Take me out to the ball game and Lazy Mary. We understand that. And now they do Piano Man in the 8th inning. And it's enough. Same thing. Between every pitch, they're throwing up music. Hey, the meter for the volume. Oh. I'm an old man, people. I've lost too many. AI's a son of a bitch. Uh-oh, did I miss something, Mark? One thing I learned in life, not everybody what you have to say. What do you mean? Not many. Are you saying one thing I learned in life, not everybody likes what you have to say? I understand. But it has to be a little bit of, how can I say? Well, people have to understand that if myself or anybody else for that matter, not only you want to come across with a valid point, but of course, at the same time, for it to be credible and make sense. You know, that's like me coming on here. If I'm going to come out and say, oh, the Knicks, they've beaten nobody and all of his luck and please, they blew out all these teams. Wait to get to the finals. They're going to get blown out themselves. People are going to laugh at me. They're not going to take me seriously. And I understand what you're saying is different than what it is that I'm saying. Just to go back to your point there, Fishing Angel. Everybody has opinions. That's what makes us people, being disrespectful, positive way. Right. And even if I can come across as respectful, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to disagree and come across, oh, you're a hater, whatever. Let's see. Fuqua, do we really need Yeah, believe it or not, I've actually grown on the bat flips. I didn't like it at first. You know me, I'm an old school guy. And Cadillacing around the bases, taking a half hour. I don't like that either. I'm not trying to say you got to be Brandon Nimmo and sprint around the bases, but yeah, do you have to swing, stand at home plate with the bat in the hands as you're walking up first base? And then as it goes over the wall, you flip it. And then when you touch first, you just the bat flips I've come to. Yeah, that's the only thing I have to check. That's the only thing I have left in my sports book to check out. Oh, a title for your beloved Knicks. I could see that. Did you see Brandy Norwood's brother got knocked out? Oh, a.k.a. Ray J? Oh, Ray. Yeah, I saw that. I saw the highlight. I did not watch that live. But again, right? Entertainment. But just because you have D-, and that's saying it nicely, D- celebrities, even Johnny Manziel for that matter. I mean, come on. Why people would watch that is beyond me. Maybe the hopes to see them lose. I don't know. But, please, read a book. Although he got played someone wanted more. Yeah. Your ownership of never said we're going to win a World Series in 5. Oh, yeah. Oh, I know that's bravado on his part. Steve Cohen. Carlos Andes a Bobby Valentine disguised African American. Yeah. And they're having that out at Citi Field this year. That's one of the promotions, the Bobby Valentine disguise, which Mets cut bait in 2023 and got back bums. Yeah, I know. I'm tired of seeing Dave Peterson. I'm tired of seeing these guys. And block, who you blocking? Fuqua, David Stearns on every. Yeah. You got that right, Fuqua, 100%. Sad to watch. Them and the Mets. No, not AI, but learn to read Al Heyman. All right. I didn't realize that was an L, so my apologies. Jay got Floyd problems. Yeah. No glasses either, which I took him off again. Al and AI are two different things. Yeah, the only AI I know is Allen Iverson. But right, you're referring to Al. So my apologies there, Mark. That's why I respect your opinion, because at least you're willing to have a conversation, because some of my friends I like what I have to say because they tell the truth when it comes to sports. Yeah. And I appreciate that, Ray. And no, and that's the whole point. I can't have this platform to just talk about teams that I don't like and dance on their grave, or my teams not showing accountability for the teams that I like and root for, and just be like, oh, well, the Mets are just having a bad season. I mean, no. Even if the Mets had a $40 million payroll, I'd still kill them. None of my teams are safe, as it should be. That's why I laughed, not you, Ray, but I laugh when some Yankee fans, and even some of the Yankee fans I've known going back to the 70s, and although he stopped, I got to shout out Louis Pizarro, where he'll try to bait me into discussions about Yankees versus Mets. And I'm like, you're coming to the wrong person, because I'm quick to destroy my team before anybody else is. So you could say, oh, look at your Mets. Oh, whether it's Hawk 2 a few years ago or whatever. Listen, you could send all the memes, all the videos or whatever. What do you think I'm going to say? Oh, no, what are they doing? I'm going to be like, come on, this is low-hanging fruit. Have I said anything incorrectly? Oh, one thing you have, and we already know what that is. We don't need to go down that road again. Yeah, I'm actually scrolling back up with your Al comment. Yeah, you said, I've lost too many. You see, and then you said, Al, son of a bitch. You see, it looked like it was AI. All right, ready? I'm going to go back to that comment. These are the last few things you said prior to that. Hang on. You said, Hal Morris probably should bet on Mayweather. Sure bet, right? And then after that, you wrote, I've lost too many. If you wrote Hal, I would say, all right, fine. But Al, son of a bitch. Anyway. All right, my last thing I want to get to, and I'll be quick because I don't want to bore anybody. So the French Open is underway, and Daniil Medvedev, Jessica Pegula, the early upsets there in Roland Garros over in Paris. And it's been hot there. Going through a heat wave, temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s. Generally, the weather in Paris, I think it was 25 degrees above normal, where it's usually like between 65 to 72. I remember when I was there in 2023, and I was early October. It was in the upper 70s. Mornings was in the low 50s, upper 70s. It felt like summer. It was great. And even then, you came at the right time because you got a heat wave, because generally it's in the mid to upper 60s, which is still nice. But, hey, give me summer weather in October, no matter where I am on the planet, I will take it. But, yeah, those have been the big stories there at the French Open. And we know about Jannik Sinner. I talked about that. Look, I got another upset. Elena Rybakina. Yeah, Iga Swiatek won that. I saw. Wow. And Rybakina is the second-ranked woman in the world. She lost 3-6, 6-1, 7-6, tiebreak in the third, and beaten by, oh, God, you know, I'm going to butcher this name. Yulia Starodu. Oh, this is rough. Forgive me for butchering this name. Starodubtseva. Oh, it's Starodubtseva. Good luck saying that one time, let alone three times. So, wow, she is ousted. And then, yeah, Alina Svitolina won. Who else? Yeah, I saw Pagula lost. Jelena Ostapenko lost. So, yeah, that's what you have. Wait, and who did Jessica Pagula lose to? Yeah, I do not know. Lose to it the French. That I should know, but I know that she did lose. I never even heard, heard of this woman. Kimberly Burrell? Never heard of her. And she was up 6-1 after the first set and lost 3-6, 3-6. I don't know what happened. So Pagula out. Let's see. Mark. No challenge to watch the entire World Series. How more didn't play the field. Oh, Mark, we've been there, done that when it comes to that. And we know who was at first base game one, especially game one, game two, as I played that weeks ago. Giants have celebrations as well. Forgot what they call them. 0-5 against Diamondbacks. Yeah, that's not good, Val. If my AP stink, I will say so. Not sugarcoat it. All the other teams are root for. No, that's good. As you should, Ray. Patrick Mahomes, congratulating me, reminding him of his first pitch. Now, is that official? I guess with Kelsey. Yeah, joining Guardians. Yeah, purchases minority stake. What does he have? 0.01%. Because remember, Jay-Z also owned the Nets, but that was maybe 1%. I don't even know what that was, but now, congrats to him. NBA is warned. Yeah, Wembanyama did not face the press yesterday, and that's a bad job by him. Come on. You got to face the music at the end of these games. You just can't walk out and I don't want to talk to anybody. No. Hal Morris play. Yeah, here we go. People look it up. I already did, Mark. You missed it. Shams posted it, yeah. You missed it, Mark. I showed it. Or maybe that was when you went to the bathroom or signed off. Don't need to prove to you that. What else we got, people? Yeah, that's what I got in the sports. Nothing with the NFL. Although they're in the middle of OTAs. Yeah, the Josh Jacobs thing. Yeah. Derwin James, highest paid safety again. He's a good player, but man. He's been hurt. He's had his injuries. 3 years, $75 million, $57 million guaranteed. All right. Yeah, nothing NFL. Yeah, Jets made a trade. Yeah, that is it, people. Yeah, I'm just looking here. Yeah, urgency to get Wemby, baseball. Yeah, I'm just looking through here. Oh, another one. I didn't mention this. Yeah, about Bob Horner. I know. Should I talk about the Cubs? Yeah, I know Bio brought that up too. Bob Horner passed away, 68 years old. Number 1 overall pick, Arizona State. What was that, 77, I believe? Very good power hitter, had that compact swing, had that very unassuming batting stance. He just kind of stood like this. He didn't have like one of these or a lot of bat movement. It was just kind of almost bat on the shoulders. Once the pitch is coming, and 68. Didn't say the cause of his death, though. Yeah, did not report the cause of his death. Who knows if it was expected or unexpected. Still a bad story. Yeah, and then let's see. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. NHL. Yeah, I know if Kenny Malkin coming back 1 year, $5.5 million, 40 years old. Yeah, that is it. All right, here we go. What do we got here before I start to sign off? I heard about the Kiss Cam of Sports. Yes, that is a thing there, Val. Google how many defensive games Hal Morris played in the 1990 World Series. Google isn't always accurate, my point. I don't. All I want to is, here's what you need to do, Mark. Very simple. You go to baseballreference.com, go back to the box scores, and take a look and see that game 1 of the World Series, and look at the box score, and you're going to see that Hal Morris right next to it. You're going to see H. Morris 1B. So, and I bet you're going to see that there. You're going to be like, wait a minute, he did not play first base. And you're going to look and you're going to say, yeah, and it's not a typo. It is not a typo. Let's see. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm actually looking up something here, guys. My apologies. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Let's see. If not tomorrow, definitely Friday. I'm going to do my first live. Yeah, please, Ray. Let me know. They updated. What, Google or Baseball Reference? Rest in peace. Yeah, didn't hear it. Yeah, I know I'm right. Absolutely. Mark, you still with me? Only because I've said what I've had to say. Forgive me with the elbow in the camera there. I've said what I had to say. And I know just for grins and giggles, as I like to say, let me maximize this. Hold on. All right, you ready for this? Mark, you still with me? You better be there. If you're gone, I'm going to be highly upset. You're still with me, right, Mark? Mark Salmons? I challenged you to watch the entire game. You didn't. Yes, agreed. It says that. He didn't play first base. Okay? He didn't play first base. Well, what happened here? Okay. All right. You're wrong? Here we go. I know. I'm sure everybody that's on is like, no, Jay, don't do it. Don't do it. Here we go. You asked for this. Let's get Mark's comment out because he knows I'm right. All right, Mark, what do you see here? You see this? You see the cursor? You see this? It's Oakland A's, Cincinnati Reds. All right. Did he sign off? Just watch the game. Here we go. October 16th, 1990 World Series. You see that on your screen? Game 1. You see it. 90 World Series. Game 1. Athletics at Reds. Here's the A's lineup. 2 in the bottom of the first. Eric Davis. We talked about it. Get your glasses out. I wish I could magnify this. Can I magnify this? I don't know if I could. Right there. First base. First base. Remember, no DH. Todd Benzinger's down here as a pinch hitter. If you look close, Todd Benzinger. Right there. Hal Morris, first base. One more time. Right there at the very top of your screen. 1990 World Series, Game 1. Athletics at Reds, October 16th. Oakland, Cincinnati. Barry Larkin, shortstop. Billy Hatcher, center field. Paul O'Neill, right field. Eric Davis, left field. Hal Morris, first base. Inaccurate. You say inaccurate? I say you're wrong. All right, let me get this off. Sorry, guys. I just had to do that one more time. It's not inaccurate. You look foolish, Mark. Come on. Although you could probably say to me, oh, you look foolish for going back and... No. Enough of that. Next, Christopher Sanchez ends today's start with the second longest scoring streak in Phillies history. Who has the first longest? Would it be lefty Steve Carlton? I'm going to say Steve Carlton. Who has the longest scoreless streak in Phillies history? No, you're going way back. Grover Cleveland Alexander, 41 innings. Christopher Sanchez is thrown 37 and 2/3 consecutive. So he has to go 3 and 2/3 to break that. And when's his next start? I'm sure it's coming, though. Mark, I'm not entertaining your comments. I'm just not, because please. Anyway. Let's see. Packers Jacobs out of jail, investigation ongoing. All right. We'll wait and see what's going to happen there. And we got afternoon baseball. Marlins up 1-0 on Toronto. Washington, Cleveland, no score. St. Louis, Minnesota, no score. Mets play tonight, off tomorrow. And who knows, maybe Mendoza. Day 32, right? To Fuqua. Day 32 of the Carlos Mendoza watch. I tell you. All right, my good people, that will do it. Another live stream just about in the books. I will have a podcast tomorrow. I don't know if I want to go live yet. I've thought about it for everything that I've said to you recently in reference to putting out content, and like the long form content is Menbozo. I like that. Well, he's not going to step down, but I get it. Yeah, he's not going to step down. Because then he's admitting that he's been a failure. But I understand what you're saying. It was at the end of the year, mutually. Now, mind you, isn't he in the last year of his contract? Because I don't think they extended him. They're not going to extend him after the first year. Or maybe they did. Knowing the Mets, they probably did do that. Hey, what we got here? Hawks. There's no way Wemby and that Spurs leapfrog like that. No, I agree with you there, Hawks. 100%. 1,000%. Listen, could it happen? It could. I don't think it will, at least not this year. I mean, Wemby's going to have to put up the likes of what he did in game 1. They have that 41-24 type game. He's going to have to do it in 2 games. And then when they get to the finals, if they do get to the finals, yeah, he's going to have to continue to do that. And the Knicks could throw big bodies at him. Karl Anthony Towns, as well as Mitchell Robinson. You want to throw OG Anunoby for some muscle. So, yeah, they could certainly do what they can with him on the offensive side of the ball when the Knicks are playing defense. But as far as the Spurs taking that leap, it's a lot to ask. Now, if they would have won last night, that would have been interesting. But to win the next two, young team like that, it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely. So I appreciate the comment there, Hawks. All right, let's see what else we got. One last thing. Let me check. Yeah, just looking around to see what else sports-wise. I think that'll do it, people. Novak Djokovic won today, 4 sets. Actually lost the tiebreak in the 3rd set. So good for him. We're going to need him to get to a final because there's no way that Jannik Sinner is going to. If there's any hope for Sinner to go down, it's probably going to be against Djokovic. It's a lot to ask for considering he's, 39 years of age? So, all right, my good people. Let's see. Hawks, Knicks have a damn good chance. Don't let Knicks win game 1, and we haven't seen a repeat in a while. Well, I know, Hawks, if you just joined us, I know in the first hour I talked a lot about this, and not to rehash it or whatever, but you're right. That game 1 will be fascinating. Do I think the Knicks have a damn good chance, just to use your words? I think they have a shot, without question. I think they have a better shot if it's against the Spurs than it is against OKC. But for everything that they've done throughout this postseason, and they've beaten up on bad teams too, let's face it, you kind of wonder, did they already peak? They're going to have now, including yesterday, 9 days off until game 1. And they had 9 days off before the Cavs series. And I got news for you. If they're down by 22 in San Antonio, OKC, they are not coming back. They are not letting the Knicks off the hook. So, and again, the competition will get a lot stiffer. As I said this earlier, just for you, Hawks. Hang on. Another long layoff. Have they peaked? And stiffer competition. And I also compared that to the second part, parallels to the 24 Yankee World Series run, where the Yankees played the Royals and Guardians before they got beat by the Dodgers, where they played the Knicks, a 6 seed, 7 seed, 4 seed, young Hawks team, a battered and probably little tired Sixer team, considering what they had to do against the Celtics. And then the Cavs, who I understand showed some mettle against Detroit, which maybe is more of an indictment on Detroit than it was for Cleveland. And we saw what happened in that series. And now they're going to go up against, in all likelihood, OKC, who's battle-tested and a champion, or a team that has an alien and young players that can defend and match up decent against the Knicks, despite the Knicks beating them 2 out of 3 in the regular season, including the NBA Cup. So, I know I gave that to you in a big nutshell, but that's what we got. Travis Kelce is true news. Yes, that is true. All right, but is he running? That's what I want to know. Because remember, he tore his ACL. So you have to wonder whether or not is that ACL. Now, granted, he hurt that ACL in December against the Chargers. And here we are, May. We're not even 6 months. I understand he's already had the surgery. He's already done the rehab. And again, he's not running around the field. But I'm sure he still has to take snaps. Maybe he's taking all snaps in shotgun. And he's taking a step planting and throwing, as opposed to him taking a 7-step drop and throwing. Oh, Mark, you're funny. Could have come from anywhere. Yeah. Yeah. Baseballreference.com. No, they're not a legit source. Respect, salute. All right, Hawks, I appreciate that. Last thing, the Knicks didn't beat these teams. They destroyed. No, they did. You're right about that. They'll beat each other up, but here's the thing. Let's say if they go 7, and as I said earlier, they go 9 overtimes, which, of course, I'm exaggerating. So they play well into Saturday night, into Sunday. They still have all day Sunday, all day Monday, all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, and oh, by the way, they do not have to travel. So it's not as if they're going to play Game 7 Saturday, and then Game 7 or Game 1 of the finals is Monday. So they are going to have a bit of a respite and not have to travel. That's something you got to keep in mind. And yes, the Knicks didn't beat the teams. They destroyed them. But again, Cavs are soft. Philly, come on, they're Philly, and they were 7 seed, and the Hawks are the Hawks. And I even mentioned this too. Celtics had a cakewalk to the final 2 years ago. Even last year, OKC, they beat the 8 seed, 4 seed, and a 6 seed. And then they beat the 4 seed in the final, which was the Pacers. I get it. It's not going to be a gauntlet every year, but now they're going from playing a 6 seed, 7 seed, and 4 seed. Now they may end up playing either 1 or 2 seed, who even on their worst day is better than the Sixers, Cavs, and Hawks combined. So that's something you got to keep in mind. Mark. But I appreciate the comments, Hawk. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate you do so. What I do, sports, as I try to continue to make a name in this space. And for those who are just jumping on board, please, I'd appreciate that. But yeah, with that said, people, about to sign off. I know I see you got a lot more people here. Thanks for everybody that's jumped on board. Oh, Hawks, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you too. I really mean that, because there's a lot of channels out here that are of the clickbait, rage bait variety, that they just don't want to have the true passionate sports talk, that they don't want to talk about these certain things. And obviously I'm an independent, and as I'm trying to carve a path and blaze a trail in the space, that's all I want to do is put forth entertaining, engaging, top-notch, but more importantly, authentic, transparent, and credible sports talk. That's it. That's all I want to do. That's all I ever want to do. Yes, tell a friend, grow the channel. If you could do that, I really appreciate it. And with that being said, tomorrow I will have a podcast pregame, 9:45 a.m. here on the channel. Definitely check me out, as we'll do a podcast pregame. Podcast will be at 11. Won't be live, I don't think. Unless you want it to be live, let me know in the comments before I sign off. But as always, people, as long as I sit in front of this microphone and camera, I promise I'll deliver nothing but passion, fire, energy, fury, my thoughts, opinions, critiques, praise, analysis, feelings on anything and everything that happens on the world of the diamond, ice, gridiron, hardwood, golf course, racetrack, tennis court, boxing ring, octagon, you name it. From my lips to your ears, from my heart to your soul, from where I am to wherever you are. The J Reels live stream always comes live, correct, directed, in full effect. From the South Bronx to South Beach, to South Central to South Pacific, and all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. Enjoy the rest of your hump day. Until tomorrow, 9:45, everybody. On the flip, baby.